Why am I emotionally unavailable? That's our topic. If you have yet to subscribe, go ahead and do that. Hit the button. If you got a question, put it in the box. Why am I so emotionally unavailable, Dr. Weiss? I can tell you I've heard that question hundreds of times. And it comes from a sincere place. It's like they can see other people engaged at a different level that they're not experiencing. It's kind of like a woman who came to my office like over 30 years ago. I'll never forget her. She was a crack addict, and she came to me and she was getting sober, and she just quit smoking. And she said quitting smoking was one of the hardest things she's ever done. And she said this, I can taste the food. It's like before I would eat, but I would never really taste anything. And now food tastes so good to me. And it's like people intuitively can say, people are tasting something that I'm not tasting. They're experiencing an emotional connection and attachment that I don't really feel like I have. I might feel indifferent towards people or aloof or emotionally distant. Now, this can show up in all of your relationships. And if it does, let's go through some categories. And then I want to go through when it shows up only in your marriage. If it's in all of your relationships, one, a lack of emotional skill is probably the number one reason. You're not defective, okay? You just don't know how to do this. My book, Emotional Fitness, okay, in 60 days can teach you how to identify feelings, communicate feelings, feel feelings, and switch feelings, so that you are much more relaxed and capable of managing and expressing your feelings. It's a skill development process, and you can practice with people, and you can get really good at that. I've worked with people who are addicts for 40 years, who come in emotionally 14 years old, and they use these same skills that are in that book, and they end up maturing so rapidly that their spouses are overwhelmed with how connected they are. So that's number one. You are unskilled. Okay, great. There might be something that you don't know. Maybe your battery's running low. It's kind of like on your cell phone. If all of your apps are open, your battery's dying a lot quicker than it needs to. And so you go through and you click different things off so you have more energy. Well, it could be that you're having depression real quickly, having trouble sleeping, difficulty concentrating, difficulty making decisions, thoughts of feelings of worthlessness, low energy most of the time, possible suicidal thoughts, low sexual desire. These are some of the characteristics of depression. And if you got a few of those, do some research, okay? Now, let me tell you, that doesn't mean you need to go on an antidepressant. It might, but you also might have low thyroid. Get your hormone panel checked, because if you got low thyroid, you're gonna feel depressed and you're not gonna feel like you have energy for all that. Also, get your hormones checked. Low testosterone has the same symptoms as depression. Get your hormones checked. Now, if you got your thyroid checked and your hormones checked, and those are all good, then I would go see a doctor about depression if you are depressed, okay? So number one is skills. Number two, there might be something kind of draining your battery. And if that's the case, okay. Number three, there are possible like psychological disorders you could look into. The first one comes to mind would be like schizoid personality disorder. There are attachment disorders as well. But like with schizoid, the way I describe them is their ideal life is really like living in a forest or a beach or somewhere kind of alone, coming into town once a week and going back home. And that's great. They really don't have a desire for people. They really don't. It's just not there, okay? Now, there are things that can be done, but schizoid personality is real. You could look it up. Attachment disorders of various types are real, and you can get evaluated with a psychological test. It'll tell you that. That could be what's going on, all right? Addictions can also cause isolation. One of the symptoms of addictions is you pull away from other relationships because you are getting more quality time with your addiction. Now, that addiction could be your phone. That addiction could be work. It could be pornography, could be masturbation. It could be alcohol or drugs, even prescriptions. But if you have an addiction, you will tend to pull away from others. And so that emotional unavailability that you're experiencing could be a result of an addiction growing in your life. Well, that'll get you some help if it's generally everywhere. Everywhere you go, you're kind of emotionally unavailable. But there are those people that are unique. They're able to have good friends, everyone thinks they're wonderful, and they're able to do a level of attachment socially as long as it's not with their spouse. When they come home, their heart closes. And if that's you, there's something called intimacy anorexia. Now this, you want to look up, intimacyanorexia.com. I'm going to give you the real quick version of it. It's the active withholding of spiritual and emotional and sexual connection from your spouse. Now, it's only with the spouse. Everyone else you're available for. But when it comes to that deepest level of intimacy, you shut down. Here's some of the symptoms, okay? Number one, you're too busy for your spouse. You're not too busy for anyone else, but your spouse doesn't get quality time. You have to be drugged to a date. You're not initiating time with them. Number two, you blame your spouse for problems in a relationship. You're very rarely going to say you're wrong. You're going to blame them as a reflex. Number three, you're going to be unwilling or unable to talk about your feelings. You're going to withhold spiritually. You're going to withhold emotionally, that we talked about. You're going to withhold sex or be disconnected during sex, either way. You're also going to be using anger and silence as a way to control your spouse. You're going to have ongoing or ungrounded criticism of your spouse, and a lot of that's just in your head. It's like you got this negative version of them, okay? And your spouse is going to feel married and alone. And if you're having conversations like, I feel like a roommate, you need to look up intimacy anorexia, because the reason you might be emotionally unavailable, it's a side effect of intimacy anorexia, because to be available would be to be close, and to be close is not what you're aiming for. You're in more of a management mindset than a intimate relationship, lovership with your spouse. Well, I hope this has been helpful. And track down whatever you feel like you need to track down. If you need help, call our office, 719-278-3708. We have videos on many of these topics. Subscribe. If you got a question, put it in the box.